Welcome everyone to Coaching for Meaningful Change. I am so excited about this conversation today, and I'm going to ask you to humor me. I want to take a second and do something verbally that I typically am doing silently by myself before we start. And that is I get to look at who's in the class and go, wow, there are so many great people here. I know a lot of you because you've done the coach training. Some of you are coming on board. Others I'm looking forward to get to know. And I look at who's here and I go, wow, these are really great, brilliant, smart people. And it's such an honor to think, oh, and you want to come back and hear more. So that's super exciting. I want to let all of you know how fun this is. There are about half a dozen countries represented on today's call. So it's really a lot of fun to be here, see all your names, have you here. The goal today is to get your interaction. So we're going to ask you to do a couple of things, and one of you is already doing it. Hi, Tara, glad to see you. So you do have a question panel in the control panel for the webinar, and that is a place where you can type comments, ask questions, etc. So a lot of you submitted things ahead of time. I'm going to make a great effort. I think we've got it covered in terms of answering those questions as we go, and I want to invite additional questions as we go and ask for comments as we go. So interact with me, type into that question panel. All right. We do have a quick 30 minutes, and at the end of the call today, I have a gift for those of you that are still here with us. So let's dive in. What's our agenda? We're going to talk about what is meaningful change, defining that. Then we're going to define coaching. What is that? How does coaching create meaningful change? And I did something fun here. I went out and looked on the internet, all the different experts out there. How are they defining the process for creating meaningful change? So we'll get a chance to look at that as well. A lot of fun with that. We'll talk specifically for you. How can you enhance results? And those of you that have done coach training, I know you know this. I feel like you could probably teach it better than I do. It's going to be a chance to review some great information, hopefully add perspective and insight. So how do you do that? What are the tips and techniques? And then, of course, we want to share some resources with you. I will definitely take questions as we go. If someone is super brave and you want to come live and ask your question, the way you can do that is raise your hand and I can unmute you individually. The way that will work is there is a picture of a hand on your screen. Currently, it has a green arrow next to it. If you click on that green arrow, your hand will be up, and then it'll show a red arrow. That's so if you want to put your hand back down, you can. So I'm going to watch the question panel, and I'm going to watch the hands, and I'm going to look forward to your interaction as we go. So diving into the definition, what is meaningful change? Well, of course, that's two words. So when I went to look it up, you can't find one definition for two words. So I've got two definitions, and then we're going to create our working definition from that. So in the free dictionary, which is online, the definition for meaningful is to have meaning. That was interesting to put the word in the definition. Function or purpose, as in a meaningful discussion. Then it went on to say showing or conveying meaning, especially without words, a meaningful glance. Okay. Then in that same dictionary, for the word change, to cause to be different, as in change the spelling of a word, or to give a completely different form or appearance to transform, change the yard into a garden, as an example. Of course, for the, I know we've got at least one from England on here, and for you the yard is a garden, so that's a little bit different. Obviously an American definition there. All right, so what is meaningful change? Let's pull from those definitions and create our own working definition. It is to purposely make different. All right, what's coaching? Because in the coaching world, we talk about coaching as a way to create meaningful change. So what is it? The ICF, International Coach Federation, defines coaching as a strategic partnership. Now, I love this language. So very often when you think about hiring a professional or an expert to help you, you think, okay, they're the expert. And in this very definition, it's saying, they're a partner. We're on the same level here. It's an equal playing field. And then it goes on to say the coach empowers the client. That means it's the coach's job to put the client in charge of what they want and being their own best expert. It is the client who clarifies their goals, creates their action plans, identifies and moves past obstacles, and achieves what the client chooses. So it really is all about putting them in charge, giving them control. So how does coaching create meaningful change? All right, everybody, I want you to start typing in your thoughts, comments, or ideas here. I'm going to throw out one description, and I want to hear what else you have to say. And I'll be happy to share your ideas with people, so start typing. All right, how does a coach create meaningful change? Very specifically, the coach partners with the client to define what they want, to explore their opportunities, consider their challenges, list their resources, develop their strategies, plan their action steps, be accountable to follow through, and to acknowledge their own progress and success. Okay, what are you thinking when you hear that? What comes up for you? So I'm really glad to get this comment, by the way, so thank you for that. I've got somebody saying, yeah, that sounds pretty much like the process from class. And it's so true. It really is. That's how we do it. As coaches, we partner with the client and support them in creating the change they want. So let's see what else we got here. Yes, we listen and we ask questions. That's the essence of what it is we're doing, very much part of that. So awesome. All right, let's keep going. I mentioned that I had some fun with this. I went online and I said, okay, if I want to create meaningful change, how do I do that? Oh, I've got a couple more comments here. Let me share those as well. No judging. I love that. So true. Judgment-free zone all the way. And then creating awareness. Yes, by listening and asking questions. Somebody wrote in empowerment. Someone else is saying sometimes we're the only one who listens well, so the client digs deeper to bring change. That's insightful. Way to go, Lorraine. That's awesome. So nice. I love it. All right. So taking out the word coaching, I went out and did a search, meaningful change, and on several different sites found how they described the process for getting there. As I give you what they shared, I want you to be thinking, how does that compare to what we do in coaching and to what we say coaching is all about? So on Inc.com, you've probably heard of that magazine. If you haven't, it's all about incorporation, small companies, businesses, etc. So what do they say? Here's the process. Number one, you paint the picture. Okay, think about that. In coaching, what do? We ask the client what they want to describe that. You know not just what, but the why and the how. Okay, so part of the process we go through in coaching is exploring that. We define specifically and measurably what it is they want. We explore their reasons for it, and then of course how they're going to get there. Keeping people in mind. I love this. We talk about influencing factors. We talk about different relationships they have that support them as they're creating change. We also even talk about how they impact others in what they're doing. Communicate with transparency. Gotta love that, right? In keeping with our coaching competencies. Emphasize the benefits. Now here's the key difference. In Inc., they're talking about this from the perspective of the person doing it. So in coaching, what do? Instead of us saying what the benefits are, we're asking them, what are the benefits to you? What does this mean to you? And they're exploring that. Then it goes on, set outcomes and goals. Yep, we know that one. Groom change agents. So this is fascinating. It goes back into who is supporting them as they move forward and create that change. And what they're talking about here is that you're really developing that relationship to support you for creating change. We had a great book in coaching perspectives written by Jennifer Mont, and she talked about exactly this, taking your network and building it out in terms of supporting that process. I love number 8, use training wheels. So, humor me for a second. What if that said use a coach? Isn't that similar? Now, of course, a little more sophisticated than training wheels at the same time, a lot of similarity. And then it goes on, check in regularly. Make it happen. Yeah, that sounds so easy, right? Make it happen. And sometimes it is easier than people think. I think of a client that I've been working with that was negotiating a raise for themselves, and they were very fearful. Hey, can I really do this and live up to this and that kind of thing? And we were talking about scheduling another conversation, and they had to go on a business trip and we're super busy, and they said, I'm just going to have to believe I can do it. And they did. And I got the email, yes, it went through. It was so exciting because they really can do it. And then keep up the momentum. It goes back to, as a coach, we partner with them to acknowledge their progress and success along the way. And for that individual, lead by example. Well, think about it. As coaches, we talk about modeling certain behaviors and they transfer over to clients. And for clients in turn, they are creating the example by creating change. All right, more looking. Dr. Phil, I love this one. If you're familiar with Dr. Phil, I mean, very kind of an icon in the US. So the way he explained it on his website, the way to get started for creating meaningful change is to recognize what's really important to you. Who are you and what is your strategy for living? All right, everyone, start thinking. What are your comments? How does this tie and relate to what you know about coaching? And I'm going to keep going at the same time. I want to give you time to type. So be typing in your comments so we can share those in that question panel. All right, another website, I hadn't heard of this one before, so it was a new one for me, awesomeish.com. And they said to create meaningful change, set yourself up for success, change your mind, love that, own your goal, change your worldview. Let's see, one of the comments here is, this makes me think of my life purpose. Oh, this is awesome. Another comment goes back to the first question to ask as a coach. What do you want? Yeah, so right on. The first question we learned, right? So on tinybuddha.com, again, a new site for me to explore, they said, number 1, get very clear on your own values and motivations for this change. In other words, what are your reasons for doing it? Prepare a comeback. I love that. So often we think, okay, if it doesn't work out perfect, yeah, we must not do it. No, 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 no. That was an opportunity to learn and come back and be stronger. Seek out supporters, back to building that network. Filter your updates. This is really interesting. Think about something we do. I know I have a lot of executive coaches on the call right now, so let me give an example from that space. We think about doing 360 evaluations where an employee is given feedback from people that report to them, from their bosses, from their colleagues, etc. And then they got to figure out what to do with all that information. And there's research that shows if somebody gets a 360 and they have no follow-up coaching, it actually has a negative impact. And it's going to go back to the filter. When we get these updates, we have the tendency to take them as, oh, there's something wrong. It's, there's something wrong with me. It's a problem, whatever. When you're working with a coach, what are they doing? They're saying, okay, so what do you want to learn from that? What do you want to do differently in the future? How are you going to make that work for you and change it? And then be a resource. So just as when you're creating change, you want resources, you also want to be a resource to other people, because that in turn comes back to you creating your own change. and then it says push through it. So these are great insights. And I'm again asking, what are your thoughts or comments in terms of this information that's out on the internet about creating meaningful change and how that relates to coaching? What are your thoughts on how it compares to coaching? And what are your thoughts on the difference between these approaches and coaching? So I'm going to throw out one example. I'm hoping you're typing in, adding comments. I think the main difference between creating meaningful change by yourself and creating meaningful change with a coach, your coach is a partner. Think about having a running buddy. Have you ever said, hey, I'm going to start exercising every day? And then the first day the alarm goes off, you get up and you're out the door and you're great, I'm doing this. And the second day the alarm goes off and you get up and you get out the door. And then the third day the alarm goes off and you say, you know, I did pretty good those first 2 days. I'm going to give myself a break today. Okay. Now, what's the difference if you're meeting somebody outside the front door? When the alarm goes off on the third day, as much as you want to roll over and go back to sleep, you're going, oh, somebody else is out there waiting on me. So I'm going to get up and get out there too. Having a coach is like having a running buddy. That's your partner. That's somebody that you're going back to, that's checking in with you, that you're reporting to. So it's a very cool way to really empower yourself for moving forward. Okay, so a couple of things coming in on the comments. Absolutely agree with being clear on your values. Misaligned values create the biggest disconnect between what you want and what you have. So true. Here's another one. Let's see. One thing I like about coaching is it does not dwell on weaknesses per se, rather focuses on bringing strengths forward to help overcome obstacles to meaningful change. Well said. Love it. That's a great comment and a great insight. All right. So if you're going to be a coach, or you're going to create your own meaningful change, how do you really enhance the results? So we're going to look at it from both perspectives. First off, if you're a coach and you're going to work with somebody else and be their partner, how do you enhance the results? So it's, yeah, obvious. It starts with coach training. Most of you have done that. Some of you are getting ready to do that. And it simply makes sense. I don't care what profession you do. Of course, we want to have that core level. And the code of ethics. And what's funny about coaching is we say, oh yeah, well, I'm ethical. That's why I want to do this kind of work. And of course you are. And at the same time, we don't know what we don't know. So really learning what the ethics are, because they're so incredibly different from ethics in other professions, and really knowing that and getting that. And then of course, having a process. How specifically are you going to do this? Now for the client or the individual who's going to create change, how do you enhance the results? Well, the first thing is to check attitude. It goes back to knowing the values, knowing, gee, what does this mean to me? What's my reason for doing it? How motivated am I? And really being clear on that, because creating meaningful change takes work. You're going to face challenges. You're going to push through them. We've seen that. Yes, of course, it means taking the action. It's more than creating the plan. It's following through with that plan, and it's accountability. Accountability, yes, to are you taking the action steps you're committing to, and also accountability to acknowledging yourself. Because when you do make progress and success along the way, if you forget to acknowledge yourself, pretty soon your motivation goes down. So recognizing what you are doing. Let's take that same set of concepts and let's go a bit deeper here. So how can you enhance results? First off, be intentional. Be intentional about everything you're doing. So for example, before coaching, we're intentional because we get ourselves prepared to be a coach. We get trained professionally. We have our code of ethics. We have a written agreement with the client. During the coaching process, one of our competencies talks about presence, being present to the client in the moment with them. And then ultimately, it's about the client priorities and the client plan. And that is our complete focus during the coaching process. We also want to be intentional about completing coaching. According to the International Coach Federation, the average coaching relationship lasts 12 months. So ultimately, yes, clients are going to move on. That's a good thing. That's what coaching is about. It's empowering them. And as we are moving toward completion of the coaching relationship, we want to be asking the client, what is your long-term strategy? How are you setting yourself up to continue building on your progress and success and to continue moving forward with what you're doing? And truly being intentional about setting them up for that, developing those strategies. Now, I think the next point here about enhancing the results, you're all going to go, yeah, that makes sense. It sounds simple. And I'll tell you what, this is the biggest challenge for most of us as coaches. It is to be confident. And when I say be confident, there's two pieces to that. One piece is in yourself as a coach. Those of you that have gone through the program, sometimes I'm amazed. You're questioning yourself and you're so good at what you do. I've heard you coach and I know you know how to do it. I know you have that ability. You got to know it for yourself. You do know how to coach. You have developed those skills. So recognizing that and being confident in yourself. And then the next part, I've had a couple of conversations on this recently, is be confident in the coaching process. So it goes back to, we often have this mistaken, and seriously mistaken, idea that the way for us to be helpful is to have answers for people. We're used to people coming to us and asking for those answers, and then we provide them. That's the big paradigm shift that people go through when they go through coach training. And then even after coach training, we go back into that coaching relationship and we start thinking, okay, I got to figure out the solution here. Oh, I got to, it's the client who's going to figure out the solution. As the coach, be confident in the coaching process itself because the process works. There's a ton of expertise behind coaching process. There's a ton of research on its effectiveness. Go into it knowing it's going to work. I really want to hear your thoughts or comments on these points because these have been coming up for people that come up consistently. So whether it's a question, an insight, or a comment, type it into that question panel. While you're doing that, I'm going to throw out one more thing. And that is, you're going to almost laugh at me. Maybe you are laughing at me. That's okay. Be a coach. And it's so funny to say that, and it's so true. How often do we struggle with staying true to our role? We say, oh, let me change hats. I'm going to be a trainer or a consultant for a minute. And we just totally degraded the coaching process because we jumped out of it too quick. We didn't have faith in the process, and we didn't stay in our role as a coach. So if you really want to be effective in coaching, be a coach. If you really want to be effective in partnering with somebody else to create meaningful change, be a coach. And what does that mean? That means put them in charge. They are their own best expert, and it's our job to partner with them for that. Okay, so I got one comment here. A lot of people sitting there quiet. Come on, let's get some insights on this. So I've got, okay, good. I'm getting more in. So one person said, so true for me, struggle with confidence in myself and instead of in trusting the process. Nice. Somebody else. I had a young lady who had no confidence in herself. She had to call about a job interview and she was so fearful. I challenged her to stand on a chair and make her call. Oh, what a great concept. She got on the chair and she felt so confident and above her fear. She made the call. She didn't get the interview. She did overcome the fear. So that's super exciting. Now, I have somebody else saying, how can you enhance confidence when you have just started your coaching career? That's a fabulous question. So of course, the training process itself is going to go a long way. I know you're getting ready to start that. That's coming up soon. And so being totally involved in the training process, trusting in what the competencies are, and really engaging in that information. And you're going to love this. One of the things you're going to walk out of that training with is a tool that is incredibly significant in terms of supporting your own confidence. We know how powerful that is. So I'm so glad you asked that. All right, the next one. The client does the work. The client does the work. The client does the work. Yes, I love it. Literally type that in 3 times. That's awesome. So, so true. And in many ways, it's freeing for us as coaches. Next one, powerful questions are for me the most important. Absolutely. And coaching questions are completely different than any other type of question. That's one of the great things you gain as you learn coaching and go through that training process. So excellent example. All right. You're probably going to think the next one sounds familiar too. This is great. Keep up the comments. Keep typing in. So tips and techniques, and it's a lot of the same information presented differently. So what do you do as a coach? Preparation. You do your training for competency. And when we say training for competency, if you're going to put yourself out there as a coach, your minimum is membership in the ICF. They require 60 hours of training. That's your standard. So be thinking about that. I'm going to get myself to that level. Make sure you're using the code of ethics for coaches. That means you're providing it to clients, you're talking about it with clients, you're reviewing it yourself regularly, and you're living what it is. And then, of course, having an agreement. Yes, a written agreement. Hey, what's this coaching relationship about? And also that verbal conversation. What does this mean? What do you want to accomplish in the relationship as a whole? What do you want to accomplish in this coaching session? That's an ongoing process. Next is our presence. And when we say presence, it really is. We focus on the client. Who are they? How are they thinking right this minute? How are they processing? What's going on for them? What's significant for them? And really being present to them. Now, the big challenge for us as coaches is what that means is put aside thinking about solutions, put aside thinking about how we're coaching. All of that goes to the wayside. We are here and in the moment, truly listening to the client, what they're saying, what they're not saying, everything else. Focus completely on that. Then you want to have a plan. And when you say plan, you're going to plan how you work together in that coaching relationship. There are some things that work for people one way and other things another way. You want to plan the client process. What works for them in terms of moving forward and creating meaningful change? And then the 4th P is you're going to partner. You partner in terms of developing strategies and defining actions, and you partner for that accountability. And what does this all go to? It all goes to the 11 core competencies. So those of you who have done coach training have seen this. Those of you coming into it have seen it. So what is this? The first competency talks about ethics. And one of the really powerful pieces of that is the confidentiality, because when the client knows how confidential this relationship is, they truly are free to engage and make change and take risks. An agreement, and the most significant thing about the agreement is that this is client choice. Trust and intimacy is a competency. It's got to be a safe place, and you've got to have that open conversation. Be ready to really dig deep. Presence, I love this language. It comes right out of the ICF information. Dance in the moment. Back to whatever it is right now for them. Your listening skills. You're listening with intention. You're rephrasing what the client says. We forget to do that sometimes as coaches, and it's so significant, both for understanding and for client clarity. Questions. Ask questions that are short, simple, and open. Those are coaching questions. Clear and direct communication, your language, be succinct and be respectful. Believe in your client and their ability. Create awareness through the exploration process. Design actions, very specific, measurable. What are they going to do? When are they going to do it? That empowers ownership. Plan and goal set, empower their engagement in what they're doing, their follow through, and in how you're working together, partnering for that. And then, of course, progress and accountability, managing the progress, celebrating along the way. All right. I know we've used our time, so very quickly, some resources for all of you. I appreciate your hanging with me. The International Coach Federation is at coachfederation.org. If you are looking for information on coach training, do check us out at centerforcoachingcertification.com. And if you are looking for a coach to support you in creating meaningful change, contact us at Center for Coaching Solutions. We've got some great coaches available for you. Resources, blogs, books, the free webinars we do, check in with us, and then of course outsourcing. So specifically, you can access the blog on the website, a couple new articles every week. The books come out every year. I've got a couple of the authors from previous year's books on the call today. So great content, great information in these. Check them out. You can get them on Amazon. We do these free webinars every month. On the outsourcing front, we offer consulting, training, and coaching services. I do want to throw out these two questions for you right now. And for those of you who are willing to share, I love it. Type it in. What are your insights from today? One single thing you're taking away from being here today? And what's an action step for you now? So whichever one you want to respond to, type something in the question panel. Let's share that. And then I've got something for all of you. Let's see. One person said, how can we get a letter confirmation of completion for ICF training recertification? So when you take the coach training program, you actually earn a certificate for that, and that's what you submit for the International Coach Federation. When you apply for membership or a credential, they'll ask you if you've done coach training, and they'll ask you to name the organization. Let's see, somebody's insight is trust the process. Somebody else typed that in too. Insight, it's about the process. Another one said, reinforce many of the things I learned in the class. Great review. Someone else said, once again, emphasized that it is all about the client and what the client's needs are. Someone else said, I really think the client is determining their path and I am their guide. The discussion about confidence was so valuable. This is awesome. Let the process unfold. Be patient. Next step, complete the coaching certification. Got a thank you here. Takeaway is rephrase so I can get clarity and so can the client. Good refresher on the class material today. Yes, trust the process, trusting the process. A lot of you saying that. That's a huge one. Rephrase questions simply. Good reminder of the strength of that. So awesome comments. Thank you for sharing that, everyone. This is so great. Okay, I did promise something for you. So I want to give you a free 30 minutes. The way you're going to be able to take advantage of that is after today's call, I will load this on the YouTube channel. I'll email you a link to the recording on YouTube so that you can access it. If you reply to that email and say, hey, I want to take advantage of that free 30 minutes, I will email back and give you a link to my calendar. You can click on that link, access my calendar directly, and book yourself right in. So that's available to you. Of course, the next thing for you is choosing the resources you're going to use, planning your own process, implementing your strategy, and achieving the results that you want. So I do want to say thank you to each and every one of you for being here. As I mentioned at the end, this is so fun. So fun to see your names, hear your comments. This is great. I really value the honor of the ongoing relationship, and of course wish I had more and more time with each and every one of you. It's great. So thank you for being here. Do let us know what else we can do to be helpful. Make it a great one, everyone.